What's going on, you bunch of heathens? Today we are checking out the Unkillable Soldier. This was the top comment on the last song I did, so I figured this was a good place to start. Today we are going to be doing something a little different, though. Instead of breaking the history and the song into two different videos, I'm going to try combining them all into the same video. See if that helps any. I don't know. It's just a quick test. Thought it'd be an interesting idea. So I have more time to check out and put out other videos of other subjects. You know what I mean? Either way, the originals are going to be linked down below. Make sure you guys go and check them out. Without further ado, let's jump in. Hell of an intro. Oh, hi. Pretty sure that... Yeah, that's indie, isn't it? Sorry, I didn't mean to pause it, but hell yeah, that was dope as shit. Hey, give me 1 second. Okay, I'm sorry. It seems to me, I'm not sure if it's just my mix or if it's the mix on the music video itself, but I couldn't really exactly tell what the lyrics that they were singing. So I'm hopping into the lyric video to check it out so I can actually read what they're saying a bit easier. I'm hoping it's just the music video and not the song itself or my mix. Yeah, I think it was just the music video. Kind of like I forget which one it was. It was the one that took place on D-Day. At least I was pretty sure it was D-Day. Where they had the same issue where the mix was slightly off and I couldn't really hear the lyrics. Because I can definitely hear the lyrics a lot better in this one. Damn, the song. Hell yeah! Oh. Oh. I don't know what you would call this. Like, what kind of singing or whatever. I'd like this. I want to say chanting, but I don't really see it as chanting. It's more like, I don't know what you would call it. But I really like that. That really fits this so well. It's super pleasing to the ear.
Fighting and never stops. In a Ruskan brave passion tale, ignoring his wounds, he prevails. Save the day, he'll never stray, facing the foes that are coming his way.
Dude, I can't wait to watch a history. This dude sounds fucking beastly. Wait, hold on. What'd that say? Is this what the quote y'all kept mentioning? I've seen this quote multiple times whenever, especially mentioning the Unkillable Soldier. Was that what he said? Just, I enjoyed the war? And holy shit, that is such a weird thing to see. 1880 to 63. I mean, that's only 83 years. I say only. But homie lived through First and Second World War. He saw two of the most deadly human conflicts ever. God, I don't know what it is. There's certain things that weirdly scratch my brain. Like, makes me, like, ooh, I like that. When it goes, overtension, why, I don't know why that really scratches my brain. I really enjoy that. Yeah, it scratches my brain. I like it. Ooh, the choir. Ooh, is this gonna be the solo? I like that. Oh, here it is. I just got really quiet, but that was a cool, I'd have to go back and recheck, but that sounded amazing. I don't know if they did it in the beginning when we first heard it, but the inclusion of the choir in the background was super nice. Ooh, I'd like that. Holding that out. Yeah, from what it sounds like, homie never fucking broke. That was dope. I really enjoyed that. That was a fun one. Okay, let's jump straight into the history now.
Hello, everyone. I'm Joachim from Sabaton.
And I'm Carton de Wiart.
And he is the Unkillable Soldier.
Yeah, see, there. I could actually hear what they were saying. Unless, hold on, give me 1 second. Huh. No, I just went back to the music video. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was because I had it slightly too loud and my ears hadn't really adjusted for music yet. I could hear it better. I don't know what it was. I don't know why it sounded so loud and drowned out to me. Huh. Well, I'm sorry if you guys wanted to watch the music video for it. Unfortunately, when I first started it just didn't sound correct. I'm sorry.
Adrian Paul Gislaan Carton de Wiart was born in 1880 in Brussels, Belgium, to a family with substantial connections.
That was a
One
hell of a
cousin was
name.
former prime minister, the other a political secretary to the king. It was even rumored that de Wiart was an illegitimate son of Leopold II. His father, who practiced international law in Egypt, hoped that his son would follow in his footsteps, but de Wiart had different plans. After he failed his law preliminaries at Oxford, he chose to enlist, to live life rough and tough and full of bitter experiences. And he didn't really care for what he fought or even for whom. In his romanticized vision of the war, he considered serving the British Empire, or perhaps serving in the French Foreign Legion, or even fighting for the Boers against the British in South Africa. This
he just wanted to
ambivalence
fight.
was caused by his rather youthful ignorance when it came to world politics.
Yeah,
I know that
it
the
seems
ideal
like...
soldier
Hold up,
is the
Indy. What is on your... What happened to your nose, homie? You get like a bloody nose and accidentally rub it or something?
youthful ignorance when it came to world politics.
Damn.
I know that the ideal soldier is the man who fights for his country because it is fighting, and for no other reason. Causes, politics, and ideologies are better left to the historians. Well, he first fought with the British against the Boers in South Africa, as it turned out. Because he was still underage and a foreigner, de Wiart enlisted with a fake identity. The British recruiter didn't look twice and assigned him to a yeomanry regiment. Arriving in South Africa, de Wiart got a first glimpse of what modern war was actually like. A group of entrenched enemy behind offensive barbed wire proved almost impossible to dislodge. De Wiart volunteered to dash forward to remove said wire, and his more level-headed colonel denied the request, called him a fool, and most likely saved his life. Broodingly, de Wiart
Hats off to that fucking colonel, then.
War was still eluding me, and my vivid imaginings of charging Boers single-handedly and dying gloriously with a couple of posthumous VCs were becoming a little hazy. His wish to die in battle was nearly answered when he received a bad stomach wound and a bullet straight through the groin. De Wiart respected...
Oh. Damn. What? Was he just... Was this just like a product of the time where it's like, yeah, go off to die in war? This seems very... suicide ideation type shit. Like, this does not seem healthy, especially for someone so young. Like, that doesn't seem very healthy.
Admitted that the Boers were indeed very good shots. He would survive, but his identity was revealed, which got him sent back to England. Although his peers at Oxford celebrated him as something of a hero, Carton thought that it was not possible for anyone to have had a duller dose of war, and I returned bereft of glory. With that strong desire to experience the excitement of war, de Wiart decided to continue his adventures with the British Army. On July 23, 1914, he boarded a ship bound to fight the rebels in British Somaliland just a few days before Europe exploded into the Great War. The irony was not lost on him. It seems extraordinary to think of my utter ignorance of world affairs, but at that, even then pregnant moment, I fondly imagined I should be one of the few people to see a shot fired in anger. And I could hardly believe my ears when at Brindisi or Malta, we heard that Germany and Russia were at war, and my cup of misery overflowed when on arrival at Aden, I learned that England also had declared war on Germany. Stuck in a sideshow to the great conflict, his war was now against the Mad Mullah, Mohammed Abdullah Hassan, who challenged British rule with the support of his dervishes. De Wiart fought together with Indian and Somali troops to quell the rebellion. In November 1914, by a well-fortified blockhouse, de Wiart and the Somalis advanced as far as they could, close enough that he could touch the dervishes' rifles in the loopholes with his walking stick. Damn,
that's really close then.
Of the defenses, de Wiart was hit, and a splinter buried itself in his eye. A few moments later, another bullet exploded, hitting the same eye. Although he was basically blind with pain at this point, he refused surgery, knowing that that was his one chance to get back to Europe. Eye or no eye. His plan worked. He was sent back to England, and on January 3rd, 1915, his eye was removed.
Through the sun and the devil's wood, all the battles that he withstood, born a soldier
dude seems to be a badass later on in his years, but so far, from what I've seen, he's not right up there. He seems very naive in that sense. Like, I don't know what it is. Something is just throwing me off about it.
De Wiart's request to fight in Flanders in the Great War was easily granted, as everyone was in dire need of experienced officers by then. The only problem was his wound. British High Command did not wish the Germans to think that we were reduced to sending out one-eyed officers. After agreeing to wear a glass eye, he got his papers signed, but then tossed the startling, excessively uncomfortable glass eye out of the window of his taxi and replaced it with a black eye patch, which soon became his signature. De Wiart found that fighting in Somaliland was nothing compared to this war. Curious more than anything, he made his way to the front line as the shelling increased. I was standing next to my second-in-command, wondering what to do, when he said, "I wish you'd duck when those shells come." I was on the point of telling him that I was a fatalist and believed in the appointed hour when we heard another shell coming and he ducked. The shell burst quite near us and I was thrown some distance. I picked myself up and started to move my men when I noticed a hand on the ground. The hand was encased in a special kind of leather glove, which I recognized instantly as that worn by my second-in-command. His body was 30 or 40 yards away. De Wiart continued along the bombed-out Menin Road, but when they passed...
That is so fucked. Holy shit.
Some dead Germans, he thought something was off. There had been no reports of the enemy breaking through in the region, but before he could finish the thought, the silence was broken by a torrent of German fire. De Wiart found himself flat on the ground in a pool of blood. His hand was a damaged, gory mess. He got up and ran like hell through the storm of bullets back to the lines. My hand was a ghastly sight. 2 of the fingers hanging by a bit of skin. All of the palm was shot away and most of the wrist. For the first time, and certainly the last, I had been wearing a wristwatch, and it had been blown into the remains of my wrist. I asked the doctor to take my fingers off. He refused, so I pulled them off myself and felt absolutely no pain in doing it.
What the fuck is this dude made out of? Like, what the fuck?
Trying to save his hand.
Okay, there's being a fatalist and then whatever the fuck he is. What is going on in his brain? I can't unsee it.
And had it cut off.
This is weird to me.
After his health returned, he was back to the war. With one eye and one hand, he attached himself to the infantry. Fighting in the trenches made De Wiart realize just how important the role model of the well-behaved and disciplined officer truly was. His own deeds could make or break morale within a regiment, even if it meant exposing himself to great danger. An invisible commander was not a source of inspiration. At the same time, however, it made De Wiart a pitiless and unforgiving man who valued duty over personal fears. I was looking around our trenches when I saw a man who was certainly not going forward. I asked him the reason for his dawdling, and he replied that he had been wounded 3 or 4 times already and simply couldn't face it. I told him I had been hit oftener than he had, but still had to face it, and to give a little point to my argument, I gave him a push in the right direction, and on he went. I never carried a revolver, being afraid that if I lost my temper, I might use it against my own people, so my only weapon was a walking stick.
Yeah, no, that's actually kind of troubling. I'm sorry. Maybe they'll go into that. There doesn't seem to be something right in his head if he didn't carry a revolver because he was worried he'd use it on his own men. There's something going on up in his head that there's no way there isn't. That is very weird.
De Wiart was to attack La Boisselle, one of the strongest German-held positions.
I will hold that he is a badass, but that is weird.
He led his men. As De Wiart described it, dead everywhere, not a house standing, flattened as if the very soul had been blasted out of the earth and turned into a void. By nightfall, nearly all of De Wiart's accompanying officers were either dead or wounded, and he found himself in a most unhealthy spot and a magnet for shells of every side. He was suddenly knocked to the ground. Bleeding profusely, he checked his body and found that the whole back of his head had been blown off by a machine gun bullet. Luckily, it had missed all vital parts, but once more he was brought to the dressing station.
Save the day, he'll never stray, facing the foes.
God. God does not want him dead. What the fuck? He doesn't. God doesn't want him to be his problem. What the fuck is this?
Come his way, he'll never stray, saving the day.
After 3 weeks in the hospital and receiving the Victoria Cross for his actions, he was once more back at the front. During the battles of Arras and Passchendaele in 1917, de Wiart could see how the British Army had progressed. Now it was their artillery that dominated the battlefields, and shells were available in abundance. But that did not mean he was out of danger. Once more, de Wiart found himself caught in a German barrage. His clothes blown into his hip by an exploding shell, the wound went septic. Yet, de Wiart pulled through. By now, not only his doctors, but also the general staff urged him not to return to the front lines. Only de Wiart's personal appeal to General Hubert Goff got him back to the front, just in time for the German spring offensives of 1918.
That is so goddamn.
Kaiser
Homie is both simultaneously the most lucky and unlucky motherfucker ever. No eye, no hand, back of your head blown off, hit by another shell, went septic, but he survives all of it. Homie's... Nah. I don't know whether or not God wants you dead or alive at this point. I can't tell.
Schlacht badly mauled the British, but the front held. Thanks to de Wiart's magnetic personality, he found himself once more in the middle of heavy fighting when a large piece of shrapnel buried itself in his hip, very nearly costing him his leg. Returning to hospital for surgery,
Again?
de Wiart found out that his fame as the unkillable soldier had spread.
I mean, he
I
sure
was lying on a
as
stretcher
fuck
feeling
seems
extremely
unkillable.
bad-tempered and disgusted with my last brief stay in France, when a well-meaning clergyman came up to see me. Seeing the disgruntled expression on my face and my one eye, he told me to cheer up, as it might have been much worse. He said he had such a cheerful fellow through his hands a few months earlier, a man who had lost both an eye and an arm. I asked him the man's name, and he said, General Carton de Wiart, and seemed quite hurt when I lost interest in the conversation. And once more, de Wiart returned to the war in October, but this time only to witness its conclusion. The armistice brought a momentary thrill of victory which soon faded. I think only the civilians get any real joy out of the end of a war and the release from the strain of eternal waiting. Frankly, I had enjoyed the war.
Yeah, you cannot tell me there was not something going on in his head. You cannot tell me that. The fact that he thinks only the civilians enjoyed the end of the war and not the people who were miserable fighting it. I'm sure there's more, but he's so far from what I can think of, he's the only soldier I've heard of that legit didn't want the war to end like that and was just like happy with the war. That is such an insane concept.
With
to
the
me.
war ending and the men going home, de Wiart wondered what peace would have to offer him. But the adventures of Carton de Wiart were far from over. Oh, not yet. After the armistice, he was part of the British mission to Poland, soon at war with Bolshevik Russia. In Poland, he would also see the beginning of the Second World War, where he fought in Norway and Yugoslavia, was POW in Italy, later sent to China, and all of that you can look up for yourselves. Today was simply the great war story of the unkillable soldier, Carton de Wiart.
No one could kill this fucker.
Okay.
Great VFX.
We're not going to talk about the history behind the man now. We're going to talk about the video, right?
Yes.
They've just seen bits of it. It's me in a video with you for the second time.
Yes.
Okay, talk about the video.
The video is a great video. You should watch now. Bye-bye.
No, we went.
I will
went
watch it in
down
my own
to
time, considering
Belgrade,
I couldn't
to
watch
just
it.
outside of Belgrade.
I will watch it in my own time because I did not watch it during this video. I will watch it in my own time to make sure I get the story.
Last summer of 2021, to shoot the video.
Warm.
And you notice I'm wearing a wool uniform, and it was 38 degrees Celsius outside, which is 100 Fahrenheit.
In the
Oh,
shade,
that
you're
sounds
recording
like
in the
dog
shade.
shit.
Yeah, but to be fair, the director was very cool about if you were outside for more than 10 minutes, he'd like make me go off set and go inside so I didn't die, so I could do
That sounds
Now,
horrible.
one thing I really, really, really like. Okay, the second best thing about the video. The third best is that I'm in it. The second best thing is that you guys are the Germans.
Yes.
Which to many people is the bad guys, although, as we know from watching our other episodes, in the First World War, there were no good guys and bad guys. There were just political and ideological enemies. It wasn't like, I mean, the Second World War, you couldn't make up a better bad guy than Hitler. You couldn't create.
Yeah. Theoretically, especially after the war and whatnot, you could say the same thing about the fucking Japanese as well. I'm trying to remember. I don't know a lot of the history behind Mussolini, but I'm pretty sure Mussolini wasn't a fucking saint either. So the whole Axis in general weren't exactly good guys. Were bad guys almost all through and through. But when it comes to World War I, a lot of it was just shit that ended up it was just a bunch of political treaties that just spiraled into the fucking Great War.
better.
It's
Is what it came down
very
to.
black and white.
Yeah, well, I mean, sure, there were plenty of Allied atrocities in the Second World War. It is a world war involving hundreds of millions of people.
Yes.
First World War was a bit different. So you guys are the Germans, which, of course, Americans be watching would say you're the bad guys. But the best thing about the video.
I mean, not written. You're generalizing again, but I feel like if you listen to Sabaton, you're more or less into history, and you would be right. And most people, even if you're American, you would recognize that. Yeah, no, you're not a bad guy. You're playing World War I. To the average person, though, no, because America, it didn't. The thing with America is we do brief generalized history on a bunch of shit, but we mainly focus on the US because that's where we are. And because almost all the wars that don't involve like the Civil War, the Revolutionary War and shit like that fought on our soil, it's very disconnected from us in the history of us. So people don't really think about it a whole lot. I'm sure you could find people. So the generalized public in America, depending on who you ask, I would think they would say the Germans are the bad guys of World War I. When I think that's a very generalized view of it, simply because they're called the bad guys, probably because we fought against them. You know? I'm not even sure if I'm making sense. But I think it's mainly they're called the bad guys because we fought against them. They weren't actually bad guys. Whereas you could definitely say that they were bad guys and we fought against them during World War II. I think it's just mainly because we fought against them. And I'm sure you can find people like that throughout the world.
Is Tommy's mustache.
Yes. Oh.
In fact, I want to have a band called Tommy's Mustache. So
That's a great mustache.
Do you remember when Tommy was asking for the mustache? Do you remember the day what was going on there? Because this is me interviewing you. You're supposed to be talking.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, come on.
No, I don't remember exactly, but I remember we had to change the mustache.
Well, because I got the mustache to be Carton de Wiart and the fake eye. It's a good thing he didn't ask for a shout out eye. And Tommy's like, he said to the director, "Can I have a mustache?" And the director's like, "No, can't have a mustache." And Tommy's, "No, I'm in the band. I want a mustache."
Hell yeah, Tommy, stand on business. Just, no, I'm in the band. I want a mustache.
I want a mustache. And Tommy, he looks like a really mean
I like that.
40-year-old German father whose daughter you're going out with.
I love that. Just, no, I'm in the band. I want a mustache.
Mustache from the video right here.
Oh my god, he is the quintessential, like, he looks like a quintessential heavy metal, like 80s or 70s dad who's, yeah, you're about to go on a date with his daughter and you just go to pick her up. That's
Now,
fucking
you do remember,
hilarious.
they did want you to wear the Stahlhelm. They wanted you guys to wear the German helmets. And what'd you say?
Fuck no.
And why did you say that?
Because they look ridiculous on us.
Yeah.
Basically.
I mean, you know.
We didn't want to look like shit. And they talked about where we were.
I mean, that makes sense, yeah. I mean, to be fair, when it comes to Joaquin, both his chops and his hair are very him, you know, like they're very part of his image. And then the band, their long hair is very much so a part of their thing. So yeah, I think it was a good choice not to wear the Stahlhelm because it would not look correct on them. It would not look right. I mean, I think it's a dope ass looking helmet. Do I think I'd look good on it with my long hair? Fuck no. I'd look stupid as shit with it.
Were in the timeline of the video. And
I think he could probably pull it off, but it's just, it'd be weird.
There are quite a few other historical inaccuracies in this
But
script.
Stahlhelm would have been okay. Stahlhelm, because I'm the historian. Stahlhelms were.
I know they would have been okay, but they wanted us to have them for the historical accuracy. And we thought, trust me, that ain't gonna make a difference. We are going down.
Yeah, there's already enough
I wish you
inaccuracies.
said, trust me, we're using Tommy guns, which didn't come out till 1919.
Yep.
So, but none of us said that because it's not a documentary.
Exactly.
Now, whose idea?
Is it inaccurate? Yeah. Do we care though? No. You're getting the vibe of what they're trying to portray.
Was it that you guys were going to be the Germans? And was that the plan from the beginning when you thought of the whole song?
No, not when we thought of the song, but I think we sort of, at the same time we were discussing which songs, because I mean, when we wrote the songs, we didn't know which ones are going to be the singles or the video tracks. That sort of decided once you're almost done with the album production.
Right.
Yeah, it makes sense.
We thought it's a bit of a different song, and we thought we had a good time when we did Seven Pillars of Wisdom with you.
Yeah.
And
I haven't seen that one yet.
Right. Good time, a good time. We had a good time when we were actually filming. We had a terrible time in Sahara, and you guys almost died in a car wreck. But, you know, happy memories.
Yes, great times.
So, okay, we did better in Serbia.
Yes.
Okay, carry on.
No accidents. And we
That's
thought,
good.
well, it's a time, to tell the story of Adrian. We can't tell that only in World War I, but it is sort of the craziest story. I mean,
that's the main story, I guess you could call it.
True,
I don't think people realize that last line at the end of the video, frankly, I had enjoyed the war.
Yeah.
He really wrote that.
Yeah.
He was wounded like 8 times in the war, blown up again and again.
And before and after.
And after.
Yeah.
But it was quite liberating, actually, because it's one thing about being a Sabaton. We don't take ourselves serious at all.
Right.
Usually the stories. But in a sense, I figured if there's one guy in history who can take us goofing around a bit with
It's
it.
Carton de Wiart. Adrian Carton de Wiart. I don't know why there's not been like a massive movie made about Carton de Wiart. Well, actually, the movie that I would like to write is what was first really brought to my attention was the Sabaton song was The Last Battle. That would be, when you actually have, it's 1945, you have Americans and Germans fighting together.
Yes, I would love that.
You got my attention. You totally got my attention.
Dude, that seems like such a good movie.
So it's been a long time, lonely time. See what I did? And I thought, because we haven't actually filmed together in months, and I thought something that you really like. I wanted to end the episode.
Oh fuck!
See? Screaming Eagles, part 2. See, I knew I'd get you with that.
Best kind of laughs where it's just like, oh, those are the best kinds of laughs.
All right, everyone, that's it for today. And remember to subscribe, but also click that bell so you get a notification when we release some new material. So, until next time, thank you, and see you soon.
Thank you. This was a fun episode. Oh shit, I just remembered. I completely forgot that this was all in the same video, huh? Damn, this is gonna be a long video, isn't it? That was interesting. I stand by. They didn't mention it. I stand by. There had to have been something going on in his brain. Like I do not see how there is no other way of putting it. I'm sorry. Man, let me know what you guys think down below because that seems very odd to me. Yeah. Make sure you guys check out the originals. They're linked below. And until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.